like some of the bagua material that I didn't get to cover last week. Hopefully you'll find some of the ideas interesting. What I'm going to do is kind of show a couple of the excerpts from the Zhangrongjiao form, which I was taught. And being honest about it, it's one of the good ways to kind of actually focus in or hone in on specific techniques that you're actually working on, because some of them you can actually put them into almost what you kind of determine as a loop. You're basically on one continuous loop leading through the actual technique from one side to the next. One thing about the Zhang form, as everyone probably knows who study Bagua, there are elements of Xingyi within it, kind of as opposed to some of the other lines of or branches of the Chongtinghua systems, which tend to be there tends to be a lot more kind of rolling and coiling and not as much as what I would describe as kind of explosive kind of shock power type of strikes. It tends to be very much kind of coiling and undulating within a number of the other Chongtinghua branches, but it does fit in very nicely to kind of practice both of these methods alongside of each other. So obviously practicing Wu Xingquan and the single palm change and the other palm changes from the Zhang system, they do complement each other very much. As I was kind of explaining today to one student as well, the whole thing of Xingyi where you're rising, drilling, falling, turning over, that occurs within Bagua as well. So for example, just to kind of maybe point out, let's say if you're here, and you're about to do a San t-shirt, that coiling, rising, drilling, and then turning over, that is the same as you're doing flower hides under the leaf. So if I push to here, so close the moon to open the door, that coiling in force, see here, coming underneath the armpit, drilling up, rising up, turning over, falling down. And then the way I was taught is once you've fallen down to here, there's a slight press out as well, moving into the center of the circle. Okay, so once you kind of got this rising up, coming out, chopping down, then there's a kind of a slight opening up as well, and then you start walking the circle once again. So there is quite a bit of a relationship between the kind of the coiling mechanics between Bagua and Xingyi. They are kind of sister arts, and basically some of the kind of the grand masters from the early part of the 19th or the 20th century as well, they basically fuse these arts together. So the system is composed of both Xingyi and Bagua elements. People mainly preconceive the Xingyi as a kind of a linear type of art, but it does have it's kind of coiling, turning maneuvers within it. Same with Bagua as well. People might think that Bagua is all circles. There are some linear movements within Bagua as well. For example, Pizhang, that is a piercing forward. But see, even once again, see there is that coiling. See the coiling that's going on. There's still a circle within it. So if you're learning to hit with the fingertips to the kind of the soft parts of the human body and the organs, that's kind of one way of kind of expressing kind of a linear element to Bagua or Baguazhang. So to kind of maybe run through one or two of the things I'm going to kind of show today, I'm going to show some of the linear drills where you're kind of learning to kind of develop those kind of essential striking forces. So for example, if we're going to do a kind of chopping or one version of kind of a chopping fist, okay, so starting from here, let's say shoulder width apart, okay, we would drill up, clamping in, cutting out, and then it's stepping forward and drilling up. Okay, now from here, once again, you would kind of clamp in, chop out, drill up once again. So starting like with these drills, like you would do them, let's say like go on a line. So starting like go just a little bit of shoulder width apart. Okay, so we have dropping the weight, drilling up, clamping in, chopping out. From here, let's say like you're drilling up, let's say with the hand underneath, drilling up, stepping forward. Okay, from here you clamp in once again, chop out, stepping forward, drilling up. Okay, so this kind of strike, let's say like you could either be going to the eyes, like the throat, like the larynx, like the pit of the throat, like here, like as well, like as a strike. But also you can actually use this as a kind of an upward like a strike, or a kind of a catch like underneath like a person's arm as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a striking kind of thing. You could literally be catching like someone's arm and kind of popping it up like from underneath, like clamping it, and like from there, like from here, once you've clamped it, like got the person up underneath, drawing it or wiping it across, and then you're coming in like to strike like the person's like a throat or carotid artery as well. So once again, starting off like just a little bit shoulder width apart, drop your weight slightly, drill up. From here, clamping in, chopping out. Okay, nice relaxed like kind of position. And from here then, let's say you're stepping forward, drilling up. From here, clamping in, chopping out once again, stepping forward, drilling up. Okay, from here, if you want to kind of change like your angles, okay, from here, let's say you would kind of turn around. This is very similar like to the move, let's say like in the third like palm, like whole Taishan mountain. And from here, let's say like you would basically like kind of like come up, down, and cut. From here, you clamp in once again, chop, stepping forward, drilling up, and piercing once again. Okay. From here, cow boot, hand comes over once again like you. From here, let's say like you'd push down, chop, clamping in, chop, stepping forward, drill once again. Okay, so you can almost do that particular like a sequence like you're almost like on a loop, like so to speak, where you're repeating that like you're going up and down, up and down, up and down. Now another, let's say, one which I've kind of covered a number of times like before, is Pijang. Okay, so we have from here, starting off like once again, dropping your body weight, drilling up, clamping in, chopping out, and then you're stepping forward like from there, let's go with a full step, Pijang. So that is piercing like forward, let's say like this. Now Pijang, as I kind of said like before, it can be used as a striking, let's say like or it can be used as kind of like to intercept, like whereby, let's say if a hand is out there and you just basically want to kind of create a bridge, boom, and then you can kind of follow off and smother like other techniques, or kind of put a joint lock on, or whatever like the case like may be. So once again, from here, relaxing the body, your shoulder width apart, drilling up, clamping in, chopping out. You turn the front like a foot like out slightly as you're stepping forward, and you're stepping forward like with the back leg. This is drilling out, and it's piercing forward this way. Pijang. Now from here, you clamp in again, chop, stepping forward, Pijang. Okay, so the lead hand, let's say, once again, chopping, you're clamping in, chopping, stepping forward, Pijang. Okay, now from here, if you're kind of turning around, like you're once again, clamping in, coming forward, Pijang. Okay, so that pierce. So that waves in, or kind of clamps, pierce, waves in, chops, clamps, pierce. So to walk through, let's like that slowly, let's like once again, from here, shoulder width apart, dropping your weight, piercing up, clamping in, chop, turn the leg out slightly, you're stepping forward, Pijang. Okay, clamp in, chop out, turn the leg out slightly, pigeon. From here, coming around, clamping, pigeon. Clamping, chopping, pigeon, clamping, pigeon. From there, okay? And as I said, you can kind of put these type of like things like on loop. You could do that like as a kind of a setup, like walking up and down, like just to kind of like get your body like used to kind of getting that kind of clamping in, coming forward, piercing, or piercing forward. So this can be kind of drilling up. The other is kind of drilling inwards, as in like it's almost, I kind of describe it, it's like Xuan and Bong, except you're doing it with an open palm, like as a kind of a piercing, like forward, let's like a motion. The other motion will be more so hacking, where you're kind of like you're moving off, clamping, hacking. Pigeon like is a pierce, so you're going. Imagine your hand as a spear, and you're hitting like with the vital organs, like either the eyes, like or the kind of the soft parts that go around the throat. Once again, this is the type of like a motion like that you want to have kind of like going on. So another particular thing like in the Zhang Jiao system, the remove the helmet series of postures. So I would tend to kind of or what I'm practicing is I would tend to pick like a number of postures like if I'm doing my own specific practice, like to hone them and to work on them, like and kind of make them nice and smooth and try and adhere to the principles that I was shown. Now, as regards this particular series of motions, you can put it in a loop, as in it basically runs along itself. So let's say, for example, I'm here and I'm going along, let's say this line, and I'm going to do leaning on the horse, asking the way. Leaning on the horse, asking the way. Flower hides under leaf. Okay. Now I'm going to do remove the helmet to here. Hold the moon in my chest. Now I'm going to do flower hides under leaf on this side, and now I'm going to do remove the helmet on the other side. Hold the moon in my chest. Flower hides under the leaf. Remove the helmet. Hold the moon in my chest. Flower hides under the leaf. Remove the helmet. Hold the moon in your chest. Flower hides under leaf. And then finish in flock of wild geese break out. Okay, so as you kind of saw there, you can put that particular series of postures into a loop where you're basically going one way, turning back, one way, turning back. Now, one of the kind of the things around it's this kind of series of postures, as regards some of the actual motions themselves, this can be used quite a lot. Let's to kind of bring a person down, or to set someone off, or to kind of push them off. Let's slightly. It can also be, if you're used overhand, it can be curled in to get the person go into a kind of a reverse headlock, where you've held on to the arm here, and you've got the person bent over and backwards with their neck exposed. That allows you then let's say if you want to kind of turn in, come down with the elbow joint, and then push come down with the elbow strike on top of the clavicle and break that, and then obviously they're going to fall onto the ground. But to hold the moon in your chest kind of posture, let's say here, see the kind of the rolls that are going on. This, you can be catching someone's arm, subluxating the elbow joint out of place. There's lots of different options to work through with this series of postures. But one of the things that's you want to be kind of working on is getting a nice smooth transition between each one of the postures. So just to kind of give an idea, let's say if I'm in flower hides under leaf, see how I'm kind of getting that torque building up by turning my waist in to here. It's like a coil or a spring you're ready to kind of pop out and release that